Good evening and welcome to A Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP, Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight, we will be focusing on the reopening that is taking place all over America and in a variety of states and more to come. There was just a handful of states that it appeared were going to be having soft reopenings. They call them phased reopenings. It appears now that over 30 states are going to be reopening in the next week or so. What does that mean for your community? What does it mean for certain sectors of business? What does it mean for different types of businesses? We're going to talk about that. State to state to state, all of that tonight with regard to reopenings in the country on a Mexican Crossing Lines. But first, I want to thank everyone who has sent me your concerns, your comments. I will do some housekeeping, I suppose, at the beginning of the show tonight and remind people that on our social media, if you want to join in the conversation, you are more than welcome. You can leave your comments on our webpage. You can leave them on our YouTube channel. You can leave them in the comments as we are rolling on a live stream while we are broadcasting this through the Fargo Moorhead metro area. And you're more than welcome to use our call-in line to leave messages and to participate. We want to hear what you have to say. And no, we're not here to censor you. We're not here to dissent. But we do have moderation rules. What that means is we want to stay on topic. We don't like to censor or silence other ideas. You have your free speech rights, but so does everyone else. So if you're not following the netiquette, the net etiquette, on how to behave in the comments, you may be put in timeout. What that looks like is you won't be able to participate for a part of the comments on the show, or you may be shut down until the next show. It all depends on when you're banned and or put in timeout. It is not forever. Even some of the most egregious people have returned and gotten a chance to comment again. But if you're foul, if you're flaming, especially if you start making threats against other listeners or viewers, you're going to get put in timeout. Just know that we are fair and we love to respect everyone's freedom of speech rights.
Yeah, you all don't remember the Usenet, So we used to have moderation, We'd have moderators in all the chat groups and all this stuff, and people who are neophytes, they don't know any of the history of the internet. So, but we're gonna help learn you. You can get a hold of us. If you're driving around Fargo Moorhead and you're in your car, you're excited because North Dakota's going to open up tomorrow, and you'll be in your car more. That way, you can listen to us more on the radio. You can give us a call and leave a message on our voicemail at 701-566-0917. That number is 701-566-0917. Also, if you want to email us, you can email Cindy at kpppfm.com or me, Duke at kpppfm.com. Cindy said you can go to Facebook at 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead, Mexi-Can, or the People's Press Project. Leave us messages there. You can jump on over to YouTube. We're multi-streaming on YouTube at Duke 1517. You can leave comments there during the show and after the show. And you can tweet us at media_PPP. Go to kpppfm.com/donate and support our station with a tax-deductible donation to help the station keep on going.
Folks, there's a lot of trepidation about returning to business as usual all over the country. I'm sure you felt it in your community. People are asking questions like, how's that social distancing going to work in insert name of business? A bar, a restaurant, a meatpacking plant. They want to know because if they're workers, they want to know whether or not their employer is going to keep them safe. And if they're customers, they want to know if the business cares enough about their health and their well-being so that they're not going to go to a restaurant and get coronavirus. People want to know that the business is not only protecting its employees, but protecting its customers. It's a lot. It's a tall order. I know a lot of business people. I mentioned yesterday, both of my brothers also run businesses in this community. And I've talked to family members and friends living here in the Fargo-Moorhead metro area. Some of them who have been working this entire time because they're essential workers. Some of them who are going to be reopening in the following days. And I got to tell you, most people have mixed feelings, concerns about reopening, even if they're one of those people that's reopening. They're worried about it. They don't really have any other options. It's kind of sink or swim at this point for a lot of people. So this is where we are. We're at a place where, whether we like it or not, whether we feel safe or not, whether we feel ready or not, here it comes, reopening. And in this CNN report, it talks about how most U.S. states will be reopening within days. This after we've learned that a lot of states do not meet those points of criteria set forth by the CDC guidelines and the President's task force on what we would need to see in order to safely return people to the workplace, which would include making sure that we've had a 14 or more day decline in new cases or deaths. We have a way of tracing and tracking people that are sick, and we've amped up the testing to the point that people with symptoms, anybody that wants a test, even if you're asymptomatic, including those who might have had it already, and testing those people for antibodies, is available widely throughout the state. Most states don't meet all of those criteria. Yet here we are, ready to reopen in most states. In this article in CNN, it says at least 31 states will be partially reopening over the next few days as a patchwork of coronavirus response plans that vary from one state to another go into effect. Let's look at our world numbers. Where are we right now? Well, it looks like in the entire world right now, the latest numbers show total confirmed cases are 3,251,925. Spain has 213,433 cases. Italy has 205,463 cases. The UK has 172,478 cases. France is at 167,299 cases. Germany, 163,009 cases. Turkey, 120,204 cases. Russia, 106,000. I mean, all of these countries, 100 and some thousand, 100 and some. And of course, the United States is over 1,000,000. 1,090,000. Well, actually, it's a little bit over that right now. It's at 1,095,019 cases right now. Okay. 63,856 deaths and 152,324 people recovered. The states are, showing hundreds of new cases of deaths, especially in places like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Illinois, and Pennsylvania and Michigan. Our numbers continue to rise. How are we doing here in Minnesota and North Dakota, dude?
Well, excuse me. Minnesota is gotten worse in the past couple of days. There's more and more cases. Right now, there's 4,644 confirmed infections. 2,043 have recovered. So about half people are still sick. We got to look at these numbers at how many have recovered compared to how many actually have contracted the virus. And half the people are still sick. And there's 319 deaths in Minnesota. And that's went up dramatically in the past week. And here in Clay County, 149 people are infected and there's been 10 deaths. And, that's not good because we're a small community. The thing in North Dakota, who's going to reopen tomorrow, Their total positives are 1,067. They
Jeez.
just had, let's see, they had
34 more
yeah,
individuals
34 more
since yesterday.
since yesterday. Most of those were in Cass County. 21 of those were in Cass County. What I don't understand with this is that if you have 1,067 cases, and then you still have 458 totally recovered, that's not even half the people. That means half of that 1,067 are still sick. They're still sick. They're not done with the virus. And you've had 19 deaths, which is pretty low. But North Dakota prides itself that they figure, well, we don't have a lot of deaths, although they have more cases each day, more positives each day, less people. They don't have a lot of people in the hospital, but they have a lot of sick people. And for some reason, they crunch the numbers with this fuzzy math they use, and they have one of the lowest rates in the country. I think number 5 of the lowest. And that's good, supposedly, yet the cases are rolling in. They're testing a lot of people, but it's like it's not that many. If you look at 600,000 people, and they've done 27,460 total tests in the whole state, that's it's not very much. It's not very many of the people, and I'm not sure how many of those are broken down into the county here in Cass County. But they don't give out the numbers that way. They used to do the numbers a little bit different, but they quit doing them that way, and they streamlined them for the to be able to pile in.
Streamline?
And I just have a lot
What
of
does
suspicion.
that mean?
Yep.
You know, I think it's clear from the way that businesses and governments have been underreporting, overreporting, not necessarily reporting these different things, that the deaths, the numbers of people that are sick and hospitalized, it starts, to make us a little bit paranoid. But I think that, it's all about making sure you access funding. We heard from doctors in the state saying that if you put down COVID, you get a certain amount of money. If somebody gets intubated, it's even more. And it must be something like that, having to do with how you categorize deaths as well.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a screen capture about New York deaths. This is from @JamesO'Keefe. It says, to be honest with you, all of the death certificates they're writing are for COVID. Let's take a listen to the audio on this and hear what they had to say. There's a funeral director, Michael Lanza, on April 22nd, Queens, New York.
To be honest with you, all of the death certificates they're writing COVID on, all of the death certificates, whether they had a positive test, whether they didn't. So I think, again, this is my personal opinion. I think like the mayor in our city, they're looking for federal funding, and the more they put COVID on a death certificate, the more they can ask for federal funds. So I think it's political. So I'm going to turn around and say, like not everybody that we have here that has COVID on a death certificate died of COVID. Can I prove that? No, but that is my suspicion.
So you think that they're just putting it on everyone who's dying?
They're putting it on everybody's death certificate to make life easier for them, because like the causes of death get proved right away. If you write COVID, I mean, listen, they're just pushing things out because they're overwhelmed, and it's just easier to write COVID on everything. That's my opinion.
So this isn't like, we're not the first case of this happening.
Oh, absolutely not.
How often do you think this has happened?
Quite a lot. Quite a lot.
So you've seen
I couldn't give you a number, but quite a lot.
Huh.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening. He said we're playing fast and loose. They're just trying to make things easy. People are overwhelmed, and you have to understand we're overwhelming our medical system. We're overwhelming our coroners. We're overwhelming our funeral homes. Take a look at this story from Brooklyn. This comes from CNN.com. Once again, we have bodies piling up outside the morgue. 4 trucks containing as many as 60 bodies were discovered outside a Brooklyn funeral home after someone reported fluids dripping from the trucks.
Oh, my goodness.
Law enforcement officials had to get involved. The Andrew Cleckley, funeral home overwhelmed with dead bodies. They ran out of room, and as the bodies were awaiting cremation, they used trucks parked outside for storage. A second law enforcement source told CNN on Wednesday at least one of the trucks was unrefrigerated, according to one law enforcement official. One source says the bodies were put on ice. The Department of Environmental Protection had to issue 2 summons to the owners of the funeral home for foul odor.
Wow.
CNN reached out to Andrew Cleckley Funeral Home, and someone who identified themselves as the owner refused to comment. One source said they were like almost everyone else, doing the best they can to cope. The city has been the epicenter of U.S. coronavirus outbreaks for weeks, with 17,589 confirmed and probable COVID deaths, according to the city's website. Authorities are waiting for tarps and equipment to move the bodies to a larger truck. New York has freezer trucks that funeral homes can use if they are overwhelmed, and the city sent one to hold the bodies. Quote, funeral directors are required to store decedents awaiting burial or other final disposition in appropriate conditions and to follow their routine infection prevention and control precautions, the New York State Department of Health said in a statement regarding the incident. Folks, we're not just going to see people piled in trucks, funeral homes overwhelmed. What do you think is going to happen to our reopening plans at our restaurants, at our gyms, at our clinics, people going in to have their surgeries, their procedures done that they've been waiting, their doctor's appointments? What do you think is going to happen at the bars when people got a little alcohol on board? What do you think is going to happen in factories like meat packing plants that have been told to reopen? By the way, they're not going to tell the meat packing plants they have to wear a mask, they have to social distance, they have to disinfect all of the commonly used materials and equipment. It's just a suggestion now. Since when does the CDC merely make suggestions during a pandemic? The CDC is supposed to come in and say, this is a contagious disease of this and that proportion. This is how you stop it. Do this now. That's what the CDC does, right?
Yes.
They say, we've identified that there is a condition of XYZ. They come in, they investigate, they tell you what to do, and then you do it. Not anymore, folks. We're flying by the seat of our pants in America because our food system, our delivery system is falling apart. So the CDC is basically just telling people, go.
Yep.
Just go. So what do you suppose is going to happen in all of these industries? People around here are beginning to wonder. Somebody posted about Bergam's recent executive order to reopen. And the executive order, which I shared with folks in my last program, was a little bit unclear. In some places, it recommended people stay 6 feet away from each other. But if you were in booths back to back, you didn't have to.
Exactly.
So people are a little scared, especially of bars reopening. Someone posted this with hearing Burgum continuously saying North Dakota smart and people here know what to do. I'd say by reading some Facebook comments from North Dakota people, they really don't understand or want to do what is best to stay safe and to help others be safe from this virus. Maybe he needs to come to Fargo and hang out at the bars this weekend. And someone else below comments, and at Costco. Some of the comments under Costco about wearing masks is ridiculous.
It's funny. My sister, who is works in media in Minot, North Dakota, has 3 radio stations. She kept on reporting the numbers, and she gave me a Facebook message and said, "What is going on with the people in Fargo? How come the cases keep on going up and up?" And I said, "What are they doing? Just out there partying all the time?" And I basically said, "Yeah, Go to the Empire. Go to any of the bars over here, and you wait tomorrow night, Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Friday night is people are
It's
going
gonna
to
be
be
packed.
out in swarms. Downtown's going to be flooded with people. It's nice. You don't have to wear a jacket. It's just going to be really, really crazy, and people won't take safe precautions.
I think that it's not that people don't want to be safe. I think that it's not that people don't care about each other. I think that unless we have better guidance and unless we are telling people exactly what to do and exactly what not to do so that they have some guidelines to follow, not just suggestions. I'm looking at you, CDC. Not just suggestions, not just voluntarily, like the president wearing masks and telling other people to wear masks. It's voluntary. It shouldn't be voluntary if you want it to work. Either we all get on the same page or we're all going to get infected. And it doesn't matter if you say, whoopsie doodle, I didn't wear my mask correctly, or I didn't sanitize this area correctly. Sorry, your grandpa's dead. I mean, it's not going to fix the problem. And I guess it's just going to take a staggering loss of life and the breakdown of our healthcare system again for people to realize that we have to do things the right way. And there's a lot of people out there concerned about just that. Local business owners, some of them who are scared to go out, they know they have to get back to work. So this is what someone else posted about their experience of going back. It said, it's really cool that some small businesses can stay closed right now, but please don't poop on me or anyone else for opening. Any little bit of government assistance we got is contingent upon opening when they say we do. There is a lot of politics involved in this, and it's not as simple as everyone who is opening is just a money-hungry a-hole. I wish the entire country could just shut down for a month and end this thing. However, that's not our reality. I'm asking you all to be kind to people in the community who are trying to survive and get through another day of what has been small business hell without our brains exploding. Can't we just all get along?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we going to be able to get along, Duke, with people making mistakes? You know what I fear? I'm going to be really honest with you. I fear that people are going to make horrible mistakes that hurt other people or hurt, hurt the business community, hurt our healthcare system, end up getting us shut down for longer and having us all have to stay inside for longer. Take a look at this colossal mistake made by Spanish authorities. They've been hit especially hard in Spain with very, very high mortality of their citizens there. They've had over 213,435 deaths, and they are inching toward a slow reopening. One of the first things that they were concerned about was as they reopen, they were going to let the children out for the first time since the virus hit. The children were going to be able to go out, and so they took this extraordinary step of sanitizing their beaches. They decided to spray the beaches with bleach to try to protect the children. And of course the people, not just the children. Mm-hmm. But guess what? They ended up killing everything in the process. It turns out, if you could go to the first graphic, it says here that there's an outcry as they used bleach. The authorities in Spain's coastal resort apologized after spraying bleach on the beach in an attempt to protect children from the coronavirus. Appears that the bleach has killed everything. Sahara de los Atunes near Cadiz used tractors to spray more than 2 kilometers of beach with bleach. Wow. Unfortunately, it killed everything in sight, even little insects.
Wow.
Bleach kills everything. It kills all of the, the small insects on the ground, the animals, these are protected breeding sites and nesting places for migratory birds. So the bleach used is a very powerful disinfectant. It's logical that it be used to disinfect streets and asphalt, but here the damage has been brutal.
Yeah.
I can see lots of little mistakes like this in our reopening. 31 states are planning on reopening in the United States, however, and they have different approaches. In Georgia, Governor Kemp allowed some businesses to open last week, said he won't extend statewide stay-at-home orders and will require businesses to operate with strict social distancing until May 13th. California Governor Newsom is ordering beaches and parks closed and said reopening of schools and businesses is still weeks away. Arizona's Governor Ducey extends the stay-at-home order until May 15th. Florida has two different approaches. Restaurants and retail shops can let customers inside at reduced capacity starting on Monday, but not in South Florida's populous Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties, home to 6 million people. West Virginia dentists can go back to work Thursday, and restaurants, churches, and services like salons must wait until Monday. As the national picture continues to emerge, federal stay-at-home restrictions are set to expire at midnight. And unemployment figures released Thursday morning show another sharp rise in job losses, with 3.8 million first-time claims just last week. So, as our numbers of dead continue to rise over 61,000, and as we have seen over 1 million people have tested positive for COVID-19 in the United States, the CDC has now drafted documents detailing reopening guidelines. A person familiar with the deliberate process provided the draft documents to CNN separately. A federal health official stressed that the draft guidelines, which was sent to the Washington this week, is still under review by the Trump administration and is subject to change. Among some of the draft recommendations for the initial phase of reopening is schools should space desks at least 6 feet apart, avoid non-essential assemblies and field trips, and have students eat lunch in their classrooms rather than in the cafeterias. Faith-based organizations should limit large gatherings, rely on virtual or outdoor services whenever possible, use a stationary collection box, and ask the attendees follow CDC guidelines on wearing face masks. Restaurants should move toward disposable menus, plates, and utensils, switch to single-use condiments, install sneeze guards at cash registers, and avoid salad bars and buffets, as well as have self-serve drink stations. I would love to hear how businesses in your area are fighting to make things safer. And I wanted to share how masks help. Lots of folks I still see are not wearing masks. I even had some people commenting, and I apologize if this was your comment, but I've had some really dumb comments of people saying that masks actually lower your immune system and make you sicker, or that staying at home and quarantining lowers your immune system and makes you sicker. Neither of which are true. Masks actually help. Take a look at the probability of contagion with or without masks. In the first model, we have two people talking, spraying, breathing air, and neither is wearing a mask.
That's right.
Contagion in that probability is very high. In the second graphic, we have a person wearing a mask versus a person not wearing a mask. And the contagion there again is high. You have some distance in the third graphic and in the fourth graphic. And in the third graphic, one person is wearing the mask with some distance. The risk is medium. And with both people wearing the mask and the distance, the risk is low. Now, if you put 6 feet, the recommended 6 feet between two people wearing masks, the risk goes down to very low. And then, of course, staying at home quarantining,
Yep.
you have zero risk.
Zero risk.
But
yeah.
since we're all going to be going back into the world, let me share with you that there are better masks. There is a better mousetrap. In the wake of COVID-19's pandemic, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention recommends that people wear masks in public. Because N95 and surgical masks are scarce and should be reserved for healthcare workers, many people are making their own coverings. Now, research reports in ACS Nano that a combination of cotton with natural silk or chiffon can effectively filter out aerosol particles if the fit of the mask is good. Let me read that part to you. Effective reports from ACS Nano, a combination of cotton with natural silk or chiffon can effectively filter out aerosolized particles if the fit of the mask is good. SARS-CoV-2, the new coronavirus that causes COVID-19, is thought to spread mildly through respiratory droplets when an infected person coughs, sneezes, speaks, or breathes. These droplets form in a variety of range and sizes, but the tiniest ones, called aerosols, can easily slip through the opening between cloth fibers, leading some people to question whether cloth masks actually help prevent disease. Therefore, the University of Chicago and colleagues wanted to study the ability of common fabrics, alone or in combination, to filterize out aerosol similar in size to respiratory droplets. The research used an aerosol mixing chamber to produce particles ranging from 10 nanometers to 6 UM in diameter. What is that? UM. It's nanometers. It's even smaller.
Yeah.
A fan blew the aerosol across various cloth samples at an airflow rate corresponding to a person's respiration at rest, and the team measured the number and the size of particles in the air before and after passing through the fabric. One layer of the tightly woven cotton sheath combined with 2 layers of polyester spandex chiffon, a sheer fabric often used in evening gowns, filtered out the most aerosol particles, 80 to 99%, depending on the particle size, which performs close to that of an N95 material mask. Substituting the chiffon with natural silk or flannel, or simply using a cotton quilt with cotton polyester batting, produces similar results. The research pointed out that tightly woven fabrics such as cotton can act as a mechanical barrier to particles, whereas fabric that hold a static charge, like certain types of chiffon and natural silk, serve as an electrostatic barrier, similar to what you have in an N95 mask. However, a 1% gap reduces in the fit of the mask. A 1% gap in that fit will reduce the filtering efficiency of all masks by half or more. So the importance of a properly fitted mask cannot be emphasized enough. Let me go to some of your comments now. Duke, what are your thoughts about that? I think that's amazing.
Well, yeah, and also it's the thing I think about the most is that a gap in a mask, no matter what kind of mask you have, it's not going to be effective. In fact, N95,
if you don't wear it properly.
N95 means 95% effective. There's still 5%. 5%, that's too much.
Yep.
It's too much, and that we have actual things around our house that we can actually make masks out of. People are tooling masks all the time. They're going to tool them better now, which I think is a good thing. But again, it's getting them to fit right. Is probably one of the most important things, regardless what kind of mask you have.
Taumar Mom number 3, I don't know if I said that right, comments, people need to have a basic knowledge of how the immune system works. Research human virome. The media's 24/7 fear campaign was successful. Fear porn. Taylor Carpenter. Hey, Taylor. She comments, gas stations and grocery stores have sneeze guards here in Iowa. Restaurants are to go only, but coming tomorrow, most of our counties are reopening restaurants and several entertainment places. My county isn't until May 15, I believe, because it's one of the worst affected. Thanks for your comment. And give a big hug to your mom for me, Taylor. Sherry A. Exactly, Nemo. Caution beats fear, hands down. Caution plus faith plus good sanitary practices has not failed me yet. Neither has staying at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly right. If you feel that things are not safe, don't feel like you need to go out into the world. Don't feel pressured to go out into the world, especially if you're at high risk. Just stay home. Continue sheltering in place for your safety. Folks, let me just tell you that the lobby that decided what practices would be undertaken to pay people sick leave and to make sure that companies were following the best practices for employees during COVID had their own agenda in mind. These companies work to shape paid leave laws during COVID. Corporations say we're all in this together, but lobbying records show they're focused on their own agendas. Feel-good ads on television have lately told us that corporations really believe we're all in this together during the coronavirus crisis, but a review of new federal lobbying records reveals that many of the biggest corporate players have been aggressively lobbying to protect their own interests at the expense of their workers. In one instance, one of the world's largest rideshare companies pushed to give itself a special safe harbor from basic employment laws designed to protect workers. In another instance, employees at this large company were denied federal protections for paid sick leave during the pandemic. Thousands of companies and trade organizations reported lobbying on legislation related to the coronavirus pandemic during the first 3 months of 2020. Most groups' filings simply listed the bills or vague descriptions, but some filings offer key clues. What do you think of that, Duke? I mean, it's to be expected.
Yeah, I
business.
expect it. And corporations are people, so they're just as greedy.
Well, corporations aren't really people except for voting purposes,
Yeah.
or contribution purposes. But companies definitely are going to look out for their bottom line, right?
Right.
And here's something that's terrifying that adds to this mix that you may not have thought about. What about the people that are out there that are undocumented? They have an added layer of fear. Never mind the people that are too poor to stay home. Mm-hmm. Never mind the people that can't afford to stay home when they have symptoms of COVID, so they go to work anyway. What about the people that are undocumented, whose fear doesn't extend merely to going to work sick, but to going to get health care because they're so scared they could be deported? Mm-hmm. Check out this tweet from Mark Caputo quoting a request from this message or text message thread in which they ask one of the healthcare workers asks Bill de Blasio and Governor Cuomo to tell people to go in to tell undocumented people to get help. This comes from a nurse that Mark Caputo knows on the front lines of the COVID war, reporting that undocumented immigrants are scared to come to hospitals unless it's too late. The thread says, I'm taking care of a 38-year-old undocumented guy who waited until the last minute to seek help. Oh, geez, the other person replies. All right, this is probably Mark Caputo. Infecting everyone. He's going to die, says the nurse. Poor guy, says Mark. Before the night is over, says the nurse. And he was scared to come in because he didn't want to get deported, questions Mark. So he's out there getting people sick. It's a tragedy. It's beyond heartbreaking. New York City is a sanctuary city, says the nurse. I'll tweet this exchange from a nurse in Northeast Hospital if you'd like, just so people know. And the nurse replies back, yes, please. Tell Bill de Blasio and Cuomo to get help for these people. Can you imagine? And You have to. You have to imagine it because it's going to happen whether or not you like to think about it or not. In that Costco, at that Walmart, at those restaurants, at those different businesses opening up, there aren't just going to be people that are asymptomatic. There aren't just going to be people that don't like to wear masks that might be shedding virus on you. There's also going to be people that know they're sick but can't avoid going out because they don't have anyone else that can go get their groceries for them.
That's right.
That know they probably have COVID but can't avoid going to work because they can't afford to survive. Or, in this instance, who have COVID, know they probably have COVID, and not only do they continue to go to work, they don't even go to the hospital until they're almost dead because they're afraid of getting deported.
Yeah.
Those people are going to be out and about.
Yeah, and those people are in our community. You know, you can politicize it all you want and say they shouldn't be here, build a wall, do all this immigration reform. The people are here now, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. Every person in the community needs to be cared for. And when people can't be cared for, it affects everyone else. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know, it's like policies and stuff. If it would have happened 10, 15 years ago, those problems wouldn't be here now. But those people are here, and they're people, they're human beings in our community, and they need access to the care they need to protect themselves and the rest of us too.
Let me read some of our listener and viewer comments. Deborah says, we don't need luck. We have science, common sense, and general experience. That's true. Carol Lassard asks, what about public bathrooms? Carol, we've talked about public bathrooms. In fact, we've talked about quarantining when someone in the family has COVID. You are advised to use separate bathrooms. In public, you should assume that any other person near you could be COVID positive and shedding virus, which they shed through their farts and their feces. Mm-hmm. They do.
Yeah.
So if you absolutely, positively have to use the toilet in public, make sure that you're wearing your mask. Make sure that you're wearing face covering. Close the lid before you flush the toilet. Wash your hands, and when you get home, probably shower. If you can, avoid using the toilets in public. Hold it in. Go out, get your business done, and then come home and do your business at home. Mm-hmm. Okay? Do what you got to do. Oh, by the way, I had questions yesterday about whether the COVID positive workers at meatpacking plants could infect the raw meat.
Oh, yeah.
Here is your answer, and this is coming directly from Consumer Reports. The question was, can coronavirus be spread through food? It's unlikely. That's the answer. It's possible the virus can get onto food if someone who's infected coughs or sneezes on the food or has the virus on their hands and touches your food. But unlike bacteria that causes foodborne illnesses, coronavirus does not multiply on food. Many of the bacteria that causes foodborne illnesses has the ability to grow in food, meaning if the food makeup is correct and the conditions are right, a couple of bacteria cells can turn into thousands. But that's not the case with the coronavirus. And also, the virus is susceptible to normal cooking temperatures, according to the World Health Organization. So that's why you just need to cook your food the way that you normally would. Experts say cooking your food for the same temperatures required to kill pathogens causing foodborne illness is likely to also kill the coronavirus. That's 145 degrees Fahrenheit for fresh pork, beef, roasts, steaks, chops, and fish, and 160 degrees Fahrenheit for egg dishes, and beef, and 165 degrees Fahrenheit for poultry, ground beef, casseroles, and leftovers, and also to reheat pre-cooked ham. So, there's your answers. Let me go back to your comments. Heather Fanning says, I'm staying home. Too many idiots out there, including employees in stores. Time to grow big gardens and get other food supplies. Chickens, meat, rabbits. Hey, I'm still waiting to hear back if your town allows you to have chickens. Currently in Moorhead, we cannot have chickens.
Nope.
I think they should let us have chickens. I agree with you, Heather. I should have other options. I'm definitely growing that big garden, or at least I'm trying to.
As if the rabbit doesn't eat it.
If the rabbit doesn't eat it, and I have a solution for that rascally rabbit.
Yeah. We should eat the rabbit.
Yeah. Hopefully the shot that I used to kill it with will infect it. Let's see. What other comments do I have from my YouTubers? Caution beats fear hands down. Caution plus faith plus good sanitary practices has not failed me yet. That's it. That's all we've got in terms of the comments. I wanted to share with you some of the great products that are coming about as a result of this pandemic to keep us from using our hands. Have you seen the door handles in the grocery stores that you can open with your elbow? Have you seen the door fronts that go into shopping centers and malls that you open with your feet? Well, guess what? I hear all the golf courses are opening up.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can use the Putt Buddy to get your ball. Safer golf through COVID-19. Check it out, folks. Why don't you narrate what's going on here, Duke?
Okay. The guy's putting, and the ball went in. Now he's going over to the pole, and he picks it up. It's like it's magnetic or something, and pulled it right out of the hole, pulled his ball out.
No, there's a little platform down at the bottom. It fits in the hole. Watch again. Look again.
Let's watch this again.
See, it goes into the putter.
Yep.
The ball goes into the
Okay,
hole.
it's got a little thing. Oh,
and then
okay.
it lifts it up,
It lifts
and then
it up.
boop.
Oh, it's a little sleeve thing. I see.
Like a little sleeve that goes over it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's one problem solved. Any other good ideas out there? I definitely want to hear them. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but this is from Germany. This is training for reopening in restaurants. Tell me what you think. This is what one poster put out. She's coming out. She's got a tray full of drinks and she fled the coffee.
Just fling him over there.
She's keeping a safe distance, that's for sure. You want some water? I would love to hear how you're keeping your employees and your customers safe at your restaurant or business reopening. Send your photos, send your videos, send your comments to Cindy or Duke at kippfm.com. You can call us at 701-566-0917, or you can follow us on social media on Facebook at 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead, on YouTube at Duke 1517. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for being with the Mexican Crossing Lines with Cindy Gomez-Schempp
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
on 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. God bless you and good night.